I never thought I'd become the guy who went viral for destroying his own swimming pool. But when my HOA decided to build an entire community pool on my private property, without my permission, I made a decision that changed everything. The day I hit that switch and started draining the water, the whole neighborhood learned what happens when you push a quiet man too far. When I first bought my house in Clearwater Springs, I thought I'd finally found peace. It was a small cul-de-sac, quiet, lined with tall oak trees. My backyard sloped gently down to a fenced area I planned to turn into a little garden someday. I'd left behind years of city chaos, no more noise, no more drama. Just me, my house, and the calm I'd been craving. Then one morning that calm shattered. I woke up to the sound of engines, metal clanking, people shouting, something heavy hitting the ground. I looked out my window and froze. There were workers in neon vests marking the ground behind my fence on my land. I threw on a t-shirt and rushed outside. "Hey!" I yelled over the noise. "What are you doing on my property?" One of them looked up unfazed. "Building the new community pool, sir," he said casually. "HOA's orders." My jaw dropped. "The what?" He pointed to a set of blueprints. "Part of the neighborhood improvement plan. Pool lounge fence. All approved." I was fuming. "This land is mine." "Check your permits." He shrugged. "Talk to the HOA president. We just follow orders." So I did. I called Cheryl Richards, the president of our HOA. She answered in her usual sweet but toxic tone, the kind of voice that sounds polite but makes your skin crawl. "Oh, Mark," she sighed, "that back area wasn't being used. We thought it would make the perfect spot for the new pool. You'll benefit from it too." "Benefit?" I snapped. "You mean trespass and destroy my property?" "Don't be dramatic," she said. "It's for the community." That night I dug out my property deed, every survey line, every boundary marker. That land, every inch of it, was mine. No easement, no shared access, nothing. But the next morning the bulldozers were back. For weeks I watched them build that thing like I didn't exist. Concrete poured, tiles installed, even a shiny sign went up that read, "Clearwater HOA Community Pool." Every time I complained, Cheryl brushed me off. "You'll thank us later," she said. By the time it was finished, my backyard looked like a resort, but it wasn't mine anymore. Families started showing up with kids, coolers, floaties, the works. My driveway was blocked. Trash littered my lawn. I called the police, but all they said was, "This sounds like a civil matter, sir." A civil matter. That's when I started realizing if I didn't fight back, they'd just keep taking. A week after the grand opening, the place was chaos every afternoon. Kids screamed, adults blasted music, someone even set up a grill by my fence. It was like a public park, except it was my property. I tried one last time to reason with Cheryl. She was lounging in a pool chair, sunglasses on, sipping lemonade like a queen. "Cheryl," I said, my voice shaking, "we've been over this. The pool is on my land. You had no right to build it here." She gave a smug little smile. "Mark, stop making a scene. The pool benefits everyone. The board voted. It's staying." "The board can't vote to steal private property," I shot back. She waved me off. "The community loves it. You should be proud. Look at how happy everyone is." That's when I noticed something that made my blood boil. A brand new metal sign on my fence gate. HOA access only. They had literally locked me out of my own land. That night I sat in my living room watching the security footage. Video after video of strangers walking through my yard, parking on my grass, swimming in a pool that wasn't theirs. I felt violated, helpless, and for a brief moment I wondered if I should just give up. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Maybe I really was overreacting like Cheryl said. Everyone else seemed happy. Maybe I was the problem. But then, on one of the videos, I saw an HOA member locking my gate shut with their own padlock. That's when something inside me snapped back into place. No, they didn't just take my property, they took my dignity. And that was something I wasn't giving up without a fight. If Cheryl wanted to ignore legal boundaries, fine. I'd make sure she couldn't ignore the internet. The next morning I went to the hardware store, bought a couple of hoses, a pump, a tripod. When I got back, I could already hear the laughter from the pool. Perfect. I set up the tripod, aimed the camera, hit record, and looked straight into the lens. "Hey everyone," I said calmly. "Mark here. You see this pool behind me? The HOA built it on my land without my permission. So today, we're taking it back. I attached the hoses, connected the pump, and flipped the switch. The sound of rushing water filled the air. People screamed as the water started spiraling down the drain, swirling into a loud, gurgling whirlpool. Within minutes, the pool was chaos. Cheryl stormed towards me, sandals slapping the wet pavement. "What do you think you're doing?" she yelled. "Draining my pool," I said, holding up my property deed for the camera. "You're going to regret this, Mark," she screamed. I smiled. "No, Cheryl, you will." The video blew up overnight. By morning, it had over 300,000 views. Comments poured in, calling Cheryl and the HOA community dictators, entitled lunatics, the worst HOA in America. I walked outside and saw the pool empty, cracked under the sun, plastic floats lying in dirty puddles. It looked pathetic. That's when Cheryl showed up again, this time with 2 board members in tow. No sunglasses, no smug smile, just pure panic. "This is harassment, Mark," she snapped. "You posted that video without permission. Take it down or face legal action." "Go ahead," I said. "Sue me for draining my own property." Her expression faltered. "The HOA has rights over shared community spaces." "Which this isn't," I said, handing her a printed copy of my deed. "See this lot? 27B. All mine, including where you built that pool." One of the board members, Greg, looked confused. "Wait, she said that area was HOA owned." "Yeah," I said, locking eyes with him. "She lied," Cheryl snapped. "Enough. We'll let our lawyers handle it." But Greg didn't follow her when she stormed off. He turned to me and whispered, "You might want to keep those videos safe. This could get ugly." And ugly it got. Over the next few days, I received letter after letter from the HOA threatening fines, lawsuits, even community sanctions. They demanded I pay for damages to the pool. Every time I got a new letter, I posted another video. Each one went more viral than the last. People online started digging into Cheryl's record. Turns out this wasn't her first project. She'd approved multiple spending sprees without board consent, landscaping contracts, parties, even a HOA leadership retreat in Florida paid for with community funds. The internet tore her apart. Local news picked up the story. The Clearwater pool scandal. Reporters showed up at my driveway. Strangers drove by just to take pictures of the infamous empty pool. Meanwhile, I hired a real lawyer, David, a calm, sharp guy who grinned when he saw my evidence. "They don't have a leg to stand on," he said. "You could file against them for trespassing and property damage." That's when I knew draining the pool was just the beginning. When David filed the lawsuit, the HOA was already falling apart. Cheryl went silent. Half the board resigned. The HOA Facebook page turned into a war zone of angry comments. We compiled everything, the deed construction photos, Cheryl's dismissive emails, every viral video. At the first hearing, Cheryl showed up in a navy blazer pretending to be calm. The judge looked unimpressed. "Ms. Richards," he said, "did your association acquire written consent from Mr. Davis at any point?" Cheryl hesitated. "No, but the community." "The community," the judge interrupted, "does not override private ownership." David stood up, voice firm but steady. "Your Honor, my client notified the HOA 4 times in writing. They ignored him, used community funds, and even installed a sign restricting his access. That's not a misunderstanding, that's willful trespassing." The judge leaned back, frowning. "This is serious. Ms. Richards, you're lucky this didn't escalate to criminal charges." It was over before it began. The court ordered the HOA to pay for the full demolition of the pool, restore my property, and cover all legal fees. Cheryl was personally fined for misuse of HOA funds and forced to step down as president. A few weeks later, demolition crews arrived. Same backyard, same tripod, same camera angle. I pressed record, not out of anger this time, but out of peace. As the jackhammers shattered the concrete, I spoke softly into the lens. "If someone tries to take what's yours, don't just yell. Stand your ground. Let the truth speak louder than their arrogance." That video went viral too. News outlets shared it with titles like "The Ultimate HOA Downfall." People started recognizing me at the grocery store. "Hey, you're the guy who drained the pool, right?" I'd just laugh. "Yeah, that's me." Now, months later, my backyard is quiet again. The air smells like fresh grass instead of chlorine. My little garden is growing where the pool used to be. Sometimes, when the wind hits just right, I swear I can still hear faint splashes, ghosts of all that chaos. but it doesn't bother me anymore, because that pool was never really theirs to begin with. And if there's one thing I learned, it's this. When people cross the line, you don't have to scream to be heard. You just have to stand your ground and let the truth flood everything else away.